All right, coach, your thoughts on the match, then we'll take questions.
Obviously, a really awesome game by Texas A&M, and they played like they had 6 seniors on the court, and I'm proud of the way we fought back, and we played our hearts out and had a lot of things against us this week, and we still were that close. So I'm just proud of the way we finished that match, and I'm super proud of our seniors.
Jamie, what they came out and their block was pretty effective, serving tough. What did it take to adjust to what they were doing on the first time?
I thought we needed to be a little more patient on our attack, and then that started to work. And luckily, I thought our passing totally snapped out of it, which was good. And so that didn't really affect the outcome of the game. But they're a great serving team, and when you have a great server that can go on a run, that can be a difference maker. But those middles they're physical and they read really well, and I just thought they did a great job.
Actively, you took out and you played tonight. What was the thought process behind that?
I don't know. I know we all were watching the game, so I think Andy was hitting like 100 and nothing was going right for her. So I thought, okay, let's give Manaya a try, and she made a few plays, and so we left her in there.
You get up to that hot start, and then Texas A&M has that 10-0 rally. It seems like they took the first punch and rallied from that. How helpful was that for them, do you think?
I mean, I think it started with our serving and passing, and I don't want to mispronounce her name, but number one, their middle, she's a great serve, and she caught us on that for that run. So, I mean, I think we worked all season on being first to 5, first to 10, first to 15, and so on, and we weren't able to do that with her serve. And I mean, credit to her, she's a great serve. So, I mean, yeah, we really take pride in serve and pass, but I think it caught us up a few times. So.
What did A&M do so well in the first 2 sets to kind of have you on your heels and having to play catch up?
I mean, honestly, I just feel like they move the ball really well. Again, they have a pretty well balanced offense. They can fire on all cylinders, and they did that. And I think as a middle, it makes it harder to close. But I feel like, if we were one step off, they found that space and they just crushed it. So, yeah, they were relentless in what they saw.
Parker, what was the end of the 4th set like? 10 set points, they had 3 match points. How were you able to pull it out?
Oh, God. I mean, in moments like that, I feel like most of us probably aren't even thinking. We're just going back to the basics, and we're all hyper-competitive, and I've never actually been in a situation like that with going that far. So, I mean, it's hard, but at the end of the day, whoever was going to win that set had more will. And obviously they took it in the 5th, but I think that set showed that we weren't going to just let them take it from us on our home court and in our gym, and it obviously didn't turn out the way we wanted, but I think we showed a lot of fight, and that's something to be proud of.
Danny, what happened to Allie pregame?
She stepped on a ball, and that has a huge effect on our team. Those of you that have been with us the whole year, we've been great at using our depth and use it strategically, and we did not have that today. And so, and to have that happen literally with the last 5 minutes of warm-ups, pretty tough.
Rebecca, what emotions are you feeling now? What are you going through?
To be honest, I just want to be with my parents.
I just want to say Becca has put her heart and soul into this program, and you can tell by her face how much she cares. And I think, I don't even care if we win or we lose, because what I tried to tell Becca in the locker room is that she's going to take away the memories and the relationships that we've made. And winning and losing, yeah, it's a part of volleyball and it sucks, but she put her heart and soul into this program for 4 years, and she's leaving behind a great legacy and has so much to be proud of. We all see how much she cares, and I mean, it's unbelievable. So.
Danny, obviously the emotions are still fresh, but when you think you look back over the season, what is going to stand out for you?
I just think how this team really trusted each other and trusted the staff, and with it, I know it wasn't a completely new team, but I was new, and I felt like everybody just super open-minded, and we went through this year and we played with a ton of joy, had a lot of fun. We went super hard, and I think we maxed out. Like what we had today, we maxed out. And that's always the goal at the end of the year, that you look back and that's why as a coach I don't feel like upset. I know we didn't make the Final Four. We're not winning a national championship, but we maxed out today, and when we can walk away from the last game of the season and feel like we gave it our all and look back and have no regrets, that's what I'm really proud of, and I hope these players don't have any regrets either.
Piper Bergen hasn't been feeling well this week. How have you guys kind of rallied around her, especially in this match when things weren't going well?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, she's not feeling her best whatsoever, and it's hard to go into the locker room and see her feeling that way, because I mean, she's such a big part of our team, and I don't know how she did it, but she found a way to still make good decisions and get balls up on defense and set us, and that's not easy. It's really not. And she's the best setter I've ever played with and will probably ever play with, and the fact that she could go out there feeling as sick as she does and still work her butt off and play like that it's truly amazing. And I mean, I love her to death, and yeah.
Parker, you were nodding along for Danny's last answers. What do you want this team to be remembered for?
Gosh, I said this in the locker room, but like my freshman year, we all saw how that went and what happened a year later, and we heard so many people in the locker room just now saying like, I'm sorry, like it's my fault, and not even like the fans and the coaches and us, like it's about how hard we worked and what we did this year. And my freshman year, I think we all lost sight of what we were able to do. We set an attendance record. We won the Big Ten. We made it to the national championship with 4 freshmen on the court, and that's not easy. And I think my biggest message for this team is just to stick to the people that we trust and our support system, because we have so much to be proud of, and it's so easy to forget that in moments like this. And I know my freshman year I definitely did, and I tried to blame myself. So it's just to the fans, to everyone who supports us, like we wouldn't be able to do all the things that we do without them. And it sucks right now, but we have to walk away with our heads high, because we do so many amazing things every year, and it might not work out the way you want to, but there's so much to be proud of.
This was an athlete. What was it like playing the atmosphere today?
I don't know if I've ever heard Bob that loud. I know on T's play last week, I think it was against K-State, it was super loud, but I mean today it was so loud. And I've always said this, like it's hard to beat us in our own gym, and they found a way to do that, but I don't think we could get a lot of momentum going, and that really hurt us in the end. But I mean, we're always grateful to be here. We're always grateful that we get to host, that we get to play in Bob throughout the season, and we're excited to be back next year.
Rebecca, do you have a message for the returning players next year as they try to go for this again?
Man, I guess to the returners, like my biggest thing is like lead by example. I think the biggest thing is like I've always respected, and Lexi Rodriguez to me was that person. I just felt like she maybe didn't always have something to say, but she always made the play, or maybe even it was like the random handhold or the hug, and that would probably be it for the rest of the day. But it was very intentional. I think just a lot of them like never feel like you have to bear it all. It's not all on you, and like just go do your thing. You don't gotta make it a big show. Just go be yourself.
Rebecca Manai had to come off the bench in a really high-pressure moment. What does it say about her and the way that she handled that? She's
mature. I think she's very mature for her age and as a competitor. And she listens well. We told her just to hit everything, and she did that. Mm-hmm. And so, I think it's a testament to her maturity.
Andy, with A&M's physicality, blocking, and tooling, what needed to happen a little better so that didn't impact the match at times like it did?
With just Andy?
Physicality, blocking, and tooling, what needed to do a little better to keep that?
Specifically for Andy or A&M? Oh, A&M. I just thought, you can't really try to bounce on them because they're so physical. Even if they make a late move, they'll get us. And I thought we kind of started out the match trying to do that and out physical them. And again, that's not going to happen. So I thought as the game went on, we adjusted well and started swinging high. And I think we got a little bit one-dimensional, but I think that was a little bit maybe passing. I thought our passing was okay, but a lot of Bergen, and kind of that got us out of our comfort zone.
Danny, what was the end of the fourth set like for you as a coach when you're out of timeouts, out of subs, out of challenges?
Well, honestly, I had a lot of confidence. I did have a lot of confidence that we were going to win that, and we train all the time, everybody to do everything. So, I had a lot of trust. Virginia could go back there and hit a serve, and it's Teray in the front row, and it wasn't like a panic moment when we ran out of subs. Like, well, this crew is good enough to win this set, and I kept telling myself that, and it was pretty great to see us, make it through 2 times through with no subs, and I thought they were just really confident, even though they hadn't done that all year.
Time for a couple more.
Danny, going into the fifth after that 37-35, and knowing that was do or die for you, but not for them, did you get a gauge or just like where your team was at emotionally to start the fifth, and maybe how drained you could have been from that?
I felt like we were pretty ready. It's tough. You look at our setter, and it's like, are you going to make it? And she's looking at you like, I don't know. But other than that, I felt like everybody else was in there, like, willing us to win, and like, okay, we're going to make this as easy as we can for Bergen, and we have no other option at that point. So I don't know. I felt pretty good going into the fifth, and when you come back like that and fight that hard to win a fourth, you do have a lot of momentum. It's just A&M, they weren't rattled by that, obviously, and they started out strong in the fifth, and you give up a couple points against a great team. It's really, really hard to come back, and we did come back from like a 5-point deficit to tie it. So no, I felt like we were pretty ready to go in the fifth.
All right. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Edwards Ram and Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to Village Point and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 starting at $199 a month, or get $18,000 off MSRP. More to celebrate with lease deals under $200 a month. Lease the 2026 Jeep Compass Limited Altitude 4x4 starting at $169 a month, or save $10,000 off MSRP. Unwrap this season's best savings at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point and Council Bluffs.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
And for Borsheim's, it is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker Volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Moore joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start over. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we look back on each other. The bad call made us start to wonder. Don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call.
This one, just judging by sort of what people said and what was happening on the internet, this one felt different. I think maybe because of how the season went.
Excuse me, you mean being so dominant?
Yeah, like it. I know it's never impossible to lose, right? But it felt at least making the Final Four felt as inevitable as anything in sports going into it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where people are really struggling today. And kind of last night is just this didn't even come across, I think, most people's radars as a possibility that something bad would happen before the Final Four.
Yeah, so this was my buddy. This was Aaron Saturday at 11:06. And he goes, I hope to be minus $100 tomorrow afternoon. I think A&M is pretty good. Got a really good medal. And I said, yeah, I don't know. Should be interesting. I don't know if they have enough offensive versatility, but they're more than formidable.
Yeah.
What's the line? He says plus 1,400.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Dinner on Aaron. Dinner on Aaron.
Yeah, that's...
A lot of people didn't really like the vibe heading into this game.
Well, you find out later that it seems like flu's running through the team, which that can change the vibe for sure, as you know.
My heart broke.
And the weird injury, like 3 minutes before the match started,
like crying. Like DBK said, it threw them off.
Yeah, it was super random. Just stepped on a volleyball.
Yeah,
like that's super weird. and like random and kind of just like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, it's such a fine line between, because you're built to just deal with it. Especially this team, I'm sure there were some similarities in mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But going into our Texas game at the Big 12 championship, but you don't want to make excuses.
Yeah,
like we just didn't talk about it, right? I mean, playing little guys at line, like we were, decimated.
Yeah,
but we don't talk about it.
Yeah, even though
it's like Texas made it for media and fan base might, but we don't, like, as a team, really talk about it.
Which I get, and I do, and especially in the moment, you can't.
My heart sank when I started reading, especially like there was kind of some struggles with some early reports on social media, and it was kind of going back and forth, and then that got my attention, and I was like, ooh, wonder what's going on. And then with the whole flu thing, doctors being in the locker room, I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, even, because we went through it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, no, we'll still be fine. Oh, no, we'll still
Well, you have to tell yourself that, right?
Yeah, we'll still be fine.
So, like, that, because that's, to me, I understand in the moment and as a team and in that locker room, you have to tell yourself that. There's no other option, right? Because you cannot change the fact that people are getting sick around you or you're getting sick yourself, right? But, like, it does, like, it obviously makes a difference. Like, physically, it makes a difference.
Well,
I mean, shoot, I come in here sometimes and I don't feel good, and it makes a difference, and I'm not doing anything physical, right? I'm just talking, and you can tell. And I'm trying, like it's not like I'm throwing in the towel and just be like, I'm just here to be here. Like, I'm trying.
Did you Bergen Riley looked like the pasty gangster.
Yeah,
but she balled though, so I give it to her.
But so there were no options because backup setter's out, right? Allie's out all of a sudden, with no warning whatsoever to kind of prepare for that. Andy Jackson's struggling, so things.
How about my ominous text?
Which one was that?
I was like, well, DBK, what I said?
Oh, yeah, about Andy.
I said, well, Herb not putting AJ back in the game, come back to haunt her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things. We've sort of talked about this with DBK all year, though, like with her lineup and the way she does things. She's
going to do it, yeah.
Yeah, she's just going to do it. And all year, it's like, it can't be the right thing all year. And then all of a sudden, we second guess when we don't like the result.
Yeah, she got the quick hook early.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you talk about being late to the party a few too many times, especially with A&M's medals.
But like, if you're sitting there and you go, okay, this is how, like, we built this team to have depth and to have options, so that if somebody wasn't playing well, then we didn't have to stick with that and just hope it turned around. Yeah. Then, like, that's literally what they've been doing all year. So I don't know how you can go back now and say, hey, probably should have gone back to Andy. Maybe, obviously she's one of the best players on your team, right? But, like, this is the reason you played this season the way you did, is so you gave yourself options. We talk about the football team all the time. Coach yourself into options. She did. She coached herself into options. It didn't work out this time. But they also came back from 2 sets down and almost won that thing. So
how about A&M's swag?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a resilient.
Yeah, like after you lose 2, I mean, so I think
what I felt like it was Nebraska's nerves though late.
Yeah.
The surface errors.
Yeah. A&M had a couple, but Nebraska was struggling. There was a couple things that
a couple on match point. It's like,
that can't happen. I mean, like, I get it happens, but that's rough.
Yeah.
There were a couple things I was impressed with,
and emotionally they recovered from doing it too.
Yeah,
which I was like, oh,
to save their own match points.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty impressive. But there were a couple things I was impressed with A&M about. First, it seems like Nebraska. This is a weird analogy. There was it. The movie Miracle? Yeah. In 1980, like, it seems like when A&M didn't crumble after Nebraska got on top of them early in the first set, that sort of like gave them some of that confidence to be like, oh, we can survive the flurries.
Yeah, they were in it from the jump emotionally. Like, I don't think they ever.
But I think Nebraska, to a certain extent, is used to when they kind of jump on a team and they get out to like a 5-7 point lead.
They will.
Lots of teams wilt against that, right? Because they're like, oh, God, here it comes, right? A&M didn't, to their credit. It kind of happened again in the second set. A&M didn't wilt again, to their credit. And then when Nebraska came back and won 2 sets, A&M still didn't wilt. Like, I think there is a certain part of Nebraska that was used to teams sort of folding to their relentlessness, and A&M just didn't do it, right? And that's credit to them. But it also, and this is very layman's, like, it seemed like Nebraska struggled with A&M serve.
Yeah, the pass. It's just, people talk a lot about the gaudy, sexy statistics, but at the end of the day, man, you have got to be able to pass.
Yeah,
I think most of all, you have got to be able to pass, and it just was a struggle, and it got them. A&M, it was explosive. What a weird Final Four.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie though, I like Texas's court with that white trim.
Yeah, it's sharp looking.
That joke was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty sharp looking.
But I was like, oh, but it was weird. I didn't know who to cheer for.
Yeah, with the people who are like, oh, Wisconsin might upset Texas. And I was like, I don't want to root for Wisconsin.
Well, he's tough.
I was like, you think
Some of those facial expressions? Well, he is a menace.
Rico texted me because I don't know if he didn't think I was paying attention or what, which is a fair assumption once Nebraska volleyball was over. He's like, hey, just so you know, like, Wisconsin's up 2-0 on Texas right now. And I was like, is that a good thing? I was like, this feels like a big meteor game.
Yeah.
You're like, I hope a big meteor hits the stadium. I don't want either team to win this thing.
This is only 1-1, right? A 1, a 2, and 2 threes?
I believe that's right, yeah.
Wild.
I believe that's correct.
Wild. Anything can happen, boy.
Man, I am curious how Nebraska fans are, like, processing.
Are they? Who's going to KC?
I mean, nobody now. I can't imagine.
Do you still roll?
I wouldn't, but I'm petty. Like, I would not want to be there, personally.
I mean, because they would have been there in droves.
Oh, they would have taken over.
Droves.
I mean, whatever the Cincinnati game looked like, multiply that times however many, especially over the course of a weekend. And that's Kansas City next weekend. Kansas City just lost an enormous amount of money. Like,
gotta be
low key, like, they just lost an enormous amount of money. Like, the canceled hotel rooms this morning are going to be off the charts.
Edwards Ram and Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to Village Point and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 starting at $199 a month, or get $18,000 off MSRP. More to celebrate with lease deals under $200 a month. Lease the 2026 Jeep Compass Limited Altitude 4x4 starting at $169 a month, or save $10,000 off MSRP. Unwrap this season's best savings at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point and Council Bluffs.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
And for Borsheim's, it is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker Volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Moore joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball's rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we look back on each other. A bad call made us start to wonder. I don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call to make this last forever. One shot.
You know, it takes a very special circumstance for a team that great to lose in that way. And I think Texas A&M having, 6 seniors and obviously the flu-like symptoms going through the Huskers. There's been a few examples in Nebraska's past where something like that has happened. And it's set a great team just a little bit off. I was thinking of the 83 Nebraska team right in the Orange Bowl, and I don't think they had the flu or anything, but Miami had 60 days to prepare for the game, and they also had home field advantage, right? And they also had great players, and so it takes a confluence of events for a great team to lose. And when I thought about it, I thought of the '83 Nebraska team. I'm like, that's probably the comp here, except that Nebraska was at home, but they also, they had the flu. So tough day there. And then, Nebraska basketball, it's Nebraska's a basketball school, and they're going to spend the next 2 weeks both ranked in the top 25 because they're not losing. Nebraska women are not losing to Cal Baptist, although that'll be a homecoming for a local player. And then Nebraska men's basketball is not losing to North Dakota or New Hampshire. And they're not going to drop out of the rankings if they lost to Michigan State. So I'm thinking Nebraska basketball will be top 15 today. That'd be my hunch, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, let me go back to volleyball because you mentioned, the flu, and I was following along on social media after our banquet about the locker room and what was going on. At what point did you know the like realize, oh shoot, like this may be a thing when doctors are actually in the locker room.
Yeah, I didn't find that out till later the evening. I don't know that was communicated. I don't think it was communicated, but to the media that was outside there. So yeah, that's it. I know that they said that Bergen Riley wasn't feeling well, but I think it was a larger group of players than that. And again, it's just super unfortunate that happens at that time. And then you have a player who steps on a ball.
A couple of people saw that real time, right? With the rush of the players going over to her. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of the reporters saw it right as it happened. And a couple tweeted it out before the game. So you had what amounted to one of their top subs step on a ball, alley check. And so one of the things that the team had been built on, and this is a good thing, is they had been built on depth all season long. So if something didn't work, DBK was going to put another player in, and that was a player they didn't have. And then they weren't able to take anything off of Campbell Flynn or Bergen Riley because Campbell Flynn broke her finger. So they weren't able to, even give Riley a break against Kansas, right? So like, let's say for argument's sake, she didn't have to play every set that night, or she didn't have to play any of the sets that night, because Campbell Flynn could have led them to victory. That might have given her a little bit more time to reserve her energy for what was clearly a better opponent. And she didn't have it. So, now all that said, it was a 5-set match. It was an extraordinary match. Nebraska played extraordinarily well and had, they had a chance in the 5th set. And actually, again, I thought the 3rd set would determine the match. I figured Nebraska would win that. Well, I didn't know if they'd win it. But if they did win it, I thought they'd kind of do a reverse sweep, because it is so statistically hard to beat Nebraska at Devaney. Before yesterday's loss, Nebraska had won 96.8% of its NCAA tournament matches at Devaney. After the loss, they've won 94.1%. And I had mentioned Rafael Nadal on Twitter. Rafael Nadal has won 96.5% of his matches at Roland Garros, and he's retired, so he'll just go down with 96.5%. I didn't pull it out of nowhere. Like, I knew that was how close the numbers were. And so I would try to put it in that context, that like what happened was, imagine Rafael Nadal, tweaking an ankle and still going 5 sets. That's like how hard Nebraska is to beat in that venue. So there's something that incredible came out of yesterday, even though they lost. Like the fact that it was that hard to beat Nebraska, that they gave that much in what I think most people would say is one of the greatest sets of an NCAA tournament match ever. That they were able to give that much and play that hard is really a testament to the team, which is why I think, Busman Kelly said they maxed out. So it is a heartbreaking end to the season. I'm sure it'll provide a lot of fuel for next year. I'm sure that they haven't maybe even processed, that it happened. But they went 5 sets earlier in the year with Kentucky. And I suspect that, in the Final Four, Kentucky's going to be there. And I'm sure that would have been a great game that I think Nebraska would have won. But I think Nebraska and Kentucky, would have squared off again, and it would have been a real battle. So it's unfortunate for Nebraska, but they have a lot to be proud of this season, and they'll have multiple All-Americans this year, maybe 4, which is pretty amazing.
Sam, how do you kind of, hold both things in your head of how amazing the season was and everything they accomplished versus how it ended and the disappointment on that end? Because I think that's what a lot of people are kind of struggling with right now, because what we saw on Sunday didn't look very much like what we saw for almost all of the season.
Yeah, I think the first thing you have to do is give Texas A&M a lot of credit.
Yeah,
obviously,
their emotions, man, they were tough mentally.
They were. And you heard how much respect, and you heard how much respect the players, Nebraska's players, had for the coach.
because I guess they coached them at USA Volleyball in one of those teams, and so they knew that he was good. You heard the respect that they had before the match for Texas A&M. Danny Buston Kelly said this is going to be a really hard opponent, so I think she kind of knew that ahead of time. I don't know that any of us probably registered it that way. Probably a lot of people probably didn't register how good 83 Miami was. That's again the comp that I come up with is most people would say that if Nebraska won that game years ago, it'd be the greatest college football team of all time. I don't know that it would have been, but I think a lot of people would continue to say that today. But those confluence of events happen. So I don't think it necessarily diminishes Nebraska's greatness, but they do fall short, and I think there was so much shock yesterday that maybe the understanding of how thick the team was and people not wanting to make excuses, I understand how it maybe came off as, well, this was like you said, this wasn't the team that we had seen. Was it an issue of pressure? I really don't think it was. I don't think it was that. I think it was just Texas A&M played really well. The team was a little under the weather. A reserve stepped on a ball before the game, which I don't think I've ever heard of. So obviously that was a fluke deal. And there you have it. It ends fast. So what I think is that the team's gonna rebound, and they're gonna be really good again next year, and maybe just as good as they were this year. You're gonna lose Rebecca Alec, and that's really hard.
Yeah, watching her yesterday was tough because I'm a huge fan. Just personally, you know what I mean?
A lot of people are. When somebody cares that much, loves.
She has
the
such
sport,
a unique personality. She's a cool student athlete.
Yeah, she is. She cares a lot, and it was obvious. And thought Harper Murray did a really good job of working with Alec in the press conference. I'm not surprised that Harper Murray was good in that setting. She's experienced some things that people know, but she's a really sharp and fundamentally mature person. And so, Harper Murray did a really good job of explaining things in that moment. And I think what you saw in that post-game press conference is, Murray's going to be the captain next year. She's going to be the person who leads the team and is the person who galvanizes and brings that team together. I remember many years ago, I think John Cook said one of his favorite teams was, obviously all the teams that won the national championship, but it was the 2008 team. And they did not win the national title. They lost in 5 sets to Penn State at what's now called
and
the
Penn
CHI.
State was a wagon that year.
Yeah, undefeated, right?
They were. Yeah, they were the greatest, maybe the greatest team of all time. They had not, I don't know that they had lost a set all year until they played Nebraska. And there's this famous moment where they're going into the 5th set and they play the Rocky music over the whatever. And I remember it was, I was at he did some speaking engagement in downtown Omaha, and he was telling the story of it. Damon, I think you might have been there. It's a long time ago.
Oh,
but I
yeah,
think
what I was.
Osborne was there.
Yeah, I was.
Was there.
I remember that.
So I was at that thing, and he told the story of how the following morning they got up to go to breakfast, and they had not taken their jerseys off. And they all kind of went down, and that was Jordan Larson's senior year. And I can't remember the player who was sort of Amanda Gates' senior year, and so that was sometimes the teams that really galvanize you, or the ones that he remembered are moments like that. And I think what you're going to see is that this team had a lot of really good memories, just like the team 2 years ago. Although they didn't like how it ended with Texas. They had those incredible memories all year, and I think this team's going to feel the same way, and they'll come to understand that what happened was really tough, but something that they can look back on appreciate how hard they fought. And next year, I think they'll be back, and they're going to be a perennial contender to win the national title. And how many years?
They were better.
Go ahead.
They were better than this team relative to the sport, but it gives me Texas vibes. I know you fast forwarded to Nebraska '83 because of how good that team was on the national scale. So I get that, but the Texas thing, because I still remember, sitting on that stupid slanted thing for the buses where the players pulled up in because we went in under the stadium, and those dumb cellophane sandwiches waiting for us on the seat. It was a miserable feeling, right? But that '97 team, just remember, they didn't like feeling like that. You know what I mean? And
right.
It was just like, it was just because you don't want to make excuses, because Texas made some huge plays, like their inside trap game and some of the stuff they did with those two back looks and the fork, like that was good stuff, right? Even though I know we weren't very, we were super shorthanded, but Texas was.
Well, Minter was hurt, right? Minter was
he was playing some outside linebacker. Everybody was hurt. He was playing
Who was hurt?
He was playing.
Farley was out.
Yeah,
right. Farley was out. Minter Minter played, but somebody else.
We had two of our D linemen were sick. We were missing an inside. That was the running back by committee game. Nobody was healthy. It was anyway. We just weren't supposed to talk about that stuff, right? It was It's like, hey man, we put ourselves in this position, so nobody really said anything out loud about what we didn't have. All credit to Texas and their coming out party, but I just know that there's power in if you don't like the way you really feel, much like the '93 team going into '94 and Stewart going bananas after that Florida State loss. Like, it can happen. It can happen where you dial in. So I think anything's possible, even though they probably feel pretty low.
They probably do, which is totally understandable. I think you'll see them rebound. And again, how many years did Duke basketball go without winning a national title despite having great teams? And then when they won one, they won a bunch in a row. Or they won about 5 in 11 years. And that's just kind of how sometimes these things happen. And that's how that's how it's going to be. And it's unfortunate, but Nebraska Volleyball will be back.
Edwards Ram and Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to Village Point and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 starting at $199 a month, or get $18,000 off MSRP. More to celebrate with lease deals under $200 a month. Lease the 2026 Jeep Compass Limited Altitude 4x4 starting at $169 a month, or save $10,000 off MSRP. Unwrap this season's best savings at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point and Council Bluffs.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
And for Borsheim's, it is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker Volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Murray joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we look back on each other. Back call made us start to wonder. I don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call.
Jacob, let's switch over to Husker Volleyball here. Obviously not the ending anyone hoped for or expected. I guess let's start from just the match itself against Texas A&M from a just technical, tactical standpoint. What was Texas A&M able to do that gave Nebraska so much trouble?
I think the biggest thing is, they were so pin heavy. Like you look at the 3 pins, took 149 of the 178 swings, and Nebraska in a 5-set match ended up with 8 blocks. And they were just slow to the pins. Like Texas A&M really kind of abused the edge of Nebraska's block. Just for whatever reason, that's part of it is the balance. Like they were worried about the middles, even though they didn't necessarily play through them at a high rate. And I think that slowed the blockers just a little bit from getting where they needed to get. Meanwhile, Texas A&M was locked in. Like their block was massive problem for Nebraska. I mean, you saw both middles blocking at a high rate, and the pins pitching in as well. So I mean, 17-8 in stuff blocks, that right there, on top of, again, just all the tooling and everything that Texas A&M was able to do. That's the biggest thing. I think they just, for whatever reason, Nebraska just wasn't quite able to keep up with what Texas A&M was doing offensively.
Doesn't seem like Coach Busboom, I mean, she's human, but the way she talks, right, it's kind of the style is the style, and it is what it is in terms of the flexibility and the depth that she was able to coach through all season. Were you surprised at all with how the Andy Jackson situation was handled when she wasn't playing well early, how long she sat?
No, and yeah. I mean, the players said, like, Danny is herself. She's not afraid to act a certain way. She's going to be true to herself. And the players, we've talked about it all season, kind of the bench situation, the rotation. The players themselves said it's comforting to know that, like, hey, if I'm struggling, we got somebody off the bench that can come in and help the team and give me a chance to kind of catch my breath, figure it out, and hopefully get back out there if need be. And that's, I think the Jackson situation is really complicated. I mean, that's something obviously a lot of people are harping on and talking like, hey, that cost them the match, and you don't sit down your best player, and yada yada yada. And I think it's really complicated. One, she's the one sitting there on the bench. She's seeing it up close. She's talking to Andy, kind of getting a feel for where her head's at. And she didn't just sit her down and forget about her. She benched her 3 times, sent her back in there twice, and the third time just decided to stick with Manai. And Obeche is someone that has performed at a high level every time that she's gotten in the match. Obviously, has never played on a stage as big as this against a team as good as this. So it's a little different. And she did well enough. She didn't come in and hit the 500 plus that she has most of the season, but she had some big moments. I mean, that the first time she checked in there, and she helped kind of spark that run to get them right back in it. They just couldn't quite get over the hump there, but and it just that was Andy's worst match since her freshman year. Lowest hitting percentage. She had 2 matches where she hit 0 as a freshman. Since then, she hadn't hit as poorly as she did in this one. And actually, that match cost her the single season record for hitting percentage. She dropped back below Tracy Stahl's. I think finished at 467. So it's just really unfortunate. That's the magic of sports is you never know what can happen in any given game, and this just happened to be the worst that Andy's played, and that that had a huge impact. Like, you look at, they were so reliant on Harper Murray. They just Rebecca Alec was fantastic, and all credit to her for leaving everything she had out there. You could see, like, she gave everything she had to this program, but you didn't have what you normally get out of Andy and her rotations in the middle. Taylor Lanfer wasn't particularly effective. They only set Virginia Adriano 12 times the entire match in 5 sets. So they just didn't have the balance that has made them so good all season long. And Texas A&M, again, with that tempo and with the effectiveness of their pins, it was, Harper kind of more or less canceled out Lednicki, but they got Stowers and Hellmuth. Stowers in particular was fantastic for them, and Nebraska really had no answers for her. So Jamie Morrison said, like, he thought they were the 2 most balanced teams in the country going in, and thought that would set up a great match. And that it's, I guess, we ended up with the 5-set Deuce game in the 5th. So that ended up being the case to a certain degree, but Nebraska's balance just wasn't there for the first time in a big spot in a while.
Edwards Ram and Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to Village Point and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 starting at $199 a month, or get $18,000 off MSRP. More to celebrate with lease deals under $200 a month. Lease the 2026 Jeep Compass Limited Altitude 4x4 starting at $169 a month or save $10,000 off MSRP. Unwrap this season's best savings at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point, and Council Bluffs.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
And for Borsheim's, it is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker Volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Murray joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we look back on each other. The bad call made us start to wonder. I don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call.
want to ask, I know DB wants to nerd out pretty hard here. I'm going to be a little bit more like 30,000 foot view because I'll be honest, I'm not the expert DB is. But I was curious. I'm sure you were watching Nebraska all year and this weekend. Like one of the things I kept thinking about as I'm sort of processing what happened, right, is obviously you come to Nebraska to win championships. Like that's the point.
Yeah.
And the expectations are there as well. But how do you kind of balance having these amazing seasons year after year after year, even when you don't end up winning the title, like the expectations versus like, hey, there's still a lot of joy to be found in what we did accomplish?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing is finding like that accomplished feeling in the moment. Obviously, when your season ends and all you could think about all year long was getting to the Final Four, winning a national championship, like sometimes everything under that just washes away and it doesn't feel like a great accomplishment. But once it's over and you're able to actually look back on it, like I'm a year removed and it still sometimes is painful, but I'm able to say like the things we did while I was there and the records we held and everything like that is honestly far more amazing of an accomplishment than winning a national championship, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
No.
I think about Volleyball Day in Nebraska, right? Like, yes, would have been awesome to win a national championship, but you guys accomplished something that's literally never been done before.
Exactly.
Like there's a different level to that, even if it maybe isn't the goal you set out for.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. This is hard.
Let it rip, man. Go for it.
Because at my core, as a former athlete, I like the emotional stuff, the mental aspect. So you were part of these historic runs. And some would say, like our stream, I mean, they're like give you GOAT status, if not one of the best players ever, certainly one of the most accomplished, right? And decorated. So when you look back, people will hear you say, hey, it's incremental, right? We accomplished this, we didn't get this. And sometimes when people hear competitors talk like that, they it's almost like, come on, like you're just looking for a safe landing spot. But when you're wired to win and it's so outcome driven, you have to find a healthy balance. You're still in this thing. How difficult is it?
Yeah, I mean, I can't even lie. It's probably one of the most difficult things. Like the loss itself is like one thing. Like, yeah, it hurts and it's like painful in the moment and you just like you really just want to like go back and change it, but like I think the hardest part is like the days after and like just like that almost like identity crisis a little bit. And like
I'm 50 and I still have it.
And like for me, like my senior year, like that I can't like sugarcoat it. Like it was really hard and like going straight into a pro season, like I was at a complete like, what am I doing? Like
that's
like my whole past like 5-6 years even, because I was recruited when I was young. So it's like my whole like a decade of my life was like Husker volleyball. I want to win a national championship, and then December whatever 2024 it just ends and it's out. I moved out. I start a new team. I'm never gonna like wear a Nebraska jersey again. So I think that was like, especially when it's your last year, like it's really, really hard to cope with. But at the end of the day, like as an athlete, you got to move on to the next thing. You can't really like sulk in one moment for too long.
I am a little bit of a volleyball honk. I'm the guy that at one point said Andy Jackson may be the best athlete on Nebraska's campus, and I don't care what the gender is, right? Like I just kind of my reverence. So you're watching this team on like it play out. It's playing out real time. You're talking about depth. I mean, you were the glue, right? I mean, the captain. Well, I mean, you gotta allow me to say something. Like it when it was go time, man. It was. Where's Lexi? Now, this team was different, right? Built with a lot of different pieces. Some will probably point to Bergen. I get it, but a lot of movable parts, and we saw that work throughout the course of the season. When you get to a certain stage, does somebody have to be the bell cow, or is it team specific? Do you like a go-to in situations like that, or do you see something like what this team is doing work from wire to wire?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think when you like this team, I think had so many people who could be that. And I think maybe it was like, okay, we maybe just need like one or two people who can like really step up in the moments and like not put it on like, oh, some people are going to have good days and bad days. And whoever shows up today, like it's going to work out. Like, I think you need to kind of have some people that you can really rely on. But on the opposing side, like it's not beneficial to have like one go-to all the time because there's days where people are off. And like, obviously you don't want to have a bad day on like an important one or when it matters the most, but like it happens. It's sports. Like you're not going to play good when you want to all the time. And so I think having that balance is really important and having like maybe one or two people who, when the time is like coming, you're like, okay, I know she's game time. Like she's gonna bring out her biggest weapon, like when it matters the most. I think that's valuable to have.
When you're talking about, you're watching this game unfold, and I remember talking to Coach Cook when we were on like campus and him studying like the men's game and taking time away and kind of reinventing himself. And, you know, I think he'll tell you that Lauren kind of made him a little, I wouldn't say soft.
Softer.
Yeah. Okay, you can say it. Thank you.
I would say laid back, maybe a little.
It's such an explosive game, right? I talk about Andy all the time, right? And you see all this pin hitting and like it's outstanding, right? But are you surprised that at its core, it's almost like football, right? It still boils down to blocking and tackling. Are you surprised that it still boils down to serving and passing, as explosive as this game has gotten?
A little bit, yeah. Just because, I mean, if you look at the men's game a little bit, like you mentioned, it's very different from the women's game. And like, yes, serving and passing is still really important, but I think it gets a little like put to the side a little just because of how like physical they are. And like sometimes it's like, okay, if you don't have to really pass really good, if you have someone who has this vertical out of the gym and like whatever. But like with women's games, like especially when you get down to like you're playing a team just as physical or just as like has just as many key pieces as you do, like it does come down to those little small pieces of serving and passing.
What do you think? What makes passing so difficult, in your opinion?
Oh gosh, I think one part is like
it's the equivalent to saying just tackle him. It's like,
just pass it.
just pass it.
It's so
Right?
easy.
Isn't it weird how we're very
Like there's some moving parts here.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say there's like two things. Like obviously just like good servers, the speed, the movement, like being able to track it can be like really hard. There's not a lot of time. And then I think the second thing is like the mental piece behind it. Like it's you and the ball and like you're watching someone eye you down at the end line and you're like, okay, this ball is coming to me. Like it's the only really like slow piece of the game where like everything else is like you're not really thinking, like you're just reacting, you're jumping, you're like, I don't know. It's the only piece where it's like, okay, I'm sitting in serve receive for 15 seconds, like waiting for this.
There's
ball
like
to come to me.
anticipation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit piece of both. Like, yes, it's a really hard skill. It's very, very technically sound. Like you make one mistake and the ball's in the stands. So I think there's two pieces to it.
I'm curious. DB insinuated a little bit about John Cook. From kind of where he started to where he ended up. I'm curious over your time at Nebraska, talked about maybe him getting a little softer, a little gentler. How
you could see it?
How,
yeah.
I was in real time, did you kind of experience, and what was that like experiencing him sort of changing as a coach and as a person?
It was really cool to see just because, I mean, the shift was when like Harper's class came in. Obviously, I'm sure you guys saw his more like
a lot of TikToks,
media
a lot of
and
TikToks.
just like his maybe more like sarcastic side of him in press conferences, and that definitely came with like the integration of Harper, Andy, that class. I think he had talked to like Merritt and I that he knew he kind of had to change a little bit just with like the way that these girls have been coached and the way that like everything is changing within like I don't know, society, and just the way you kind of have to go about things. And he knew that that was coming. And so I think from my freshman and sophomore year and going into like junior, senior, like two different John Cooks, but it was really cool to see just because a lot of coaches aren't willing to kind of put in that work to adapt and to maybe change their coaching style a little bit. And he really was for the benefit of the team.
I think it's really interesting that it felt like it was intentional on the front end on his part, not a reaction to, oh, they're not receiving a certain style of coaching. Well, he knew ahead of time that you're like, oh, I recruited this type of player. I need to coach them this way.
Yeah.
That's super interesting to me. I don't think I ever would have anticipated that.
I know. It was really cool to be on like the other side of like, oh, okay. Like, and he would like talk about the things he was going to do and incorporate.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, like this is going to like, I think we knew like, okay, this team's going to be a lot different than what we had like my sophomore year. And so, yeah, to see him kind of be the leader of that was really cool.
I ask a lot of successful people and successful coaches because it seems, and I've talked about this for years, volleyball is one of those rare sports. It used to be hockey, but I see some misses now. It's almost like when you talked about being recruited early. There's so many, like, people don't miss when they evaluate volleyball players when it comes to offering scholarships early. What makes it such an exact deal? Like, you're pegged early, and it's just like, okay, they get to campus, and it's like, God, like,
They actually are that good.
Yeah, it checked out.
what? And I'm not saying it's not can't miss. It just seems like it does.
The hit rate's way higher than other sports, it seems like.
Why?
I do maybe want to get into coaching, so I'll have to figure this out at some point. But I don't know if you talked to Jalen Reyes, our assistant coach, but he's kind of like really big in the recruiting guru.
Yeah, he's the recruiting guru.
Yes. And I've like picked his brain about it like a lot. And like, I think a lot of it comes down to like for hitters, obviously there's like certain things, certain mechanics where it's like, okay, if you are taught at a young age how to hit a ball and generate power, like that's not going to change. Where like some people aren't taught maybe the right way. And then once you get to college, it can be really hard to change that and really hard to produce more power. So I think for hitters, like that was one thing I've kind of learned from him is that like if you have the right technique, like Harper Murray, for example, Andy Jackson have beautiful picture perfect arm swings. And it's like, okay, you can get them stronger and they're just going to like keep doing the same thing with more power. And so I think that's like one of the things. And the second component I would say is like the ability to read the game. And I don't know how the coaches can see that, but like when you watch people and it almost looks like they're doing things in like slow motion, like they make it look easy. And Jalen had always said like, we're just looking for people who like make the game look easy and not like make like all these crazy things or whatever. Like there's an extent to like being athletic and like just being able to see the game.
So this maybe kind of morphs into She Sports, which is part of the reason, most of the reason why we have you here. I'm just nerding out over these kinds of things, though. But so if you have to pick something that's not physical, and you want to play in 2026 going forward, you said you want to coach, right? So you're looking, you're looking for, if you're going to pick an attribute that you can't see, but you'd like to be able to recruit, and you want to be successful at the collegiate level, what's the attribute?
Like, so non-volleyball.
It's not height. It's not arm angles. It's not serving velocity. What's an intangible?
I would say probably two. I would say like teammateship, especially for volleyball. Like I know some sports, maybe it's like you want someone who's like real nitty gritty, like competitive, but in volleyball, like you need every key person to like come together to get one result of a product. And that's, I think, really unique about volleyball.
Interesting.
And so like, you really have to find people who like fit into the culture, the team vibe and stuff like that. So I think like teammateship and being able to tell like, okay, who on the court is like a good teammate coming into the huddles, like communicating with their team, like doing stuff like that. Cause that's important in this sport. And then I would say the other one is like how they bounce back from failure. Cause at a young age, resiliency, like at a young age, if you're taught like, okay, I just shanked a ball. And then the next one, like I'm looking my teammates in the eye and then I dime it. Like just seeing that, like being able to be like, oh, okay, this person's like a baller. Like they in high pressure moments, like they're going to be able to stay composed.
Kiddos, you hear that? Be resilient.
So
not always rainbows and butterflies.
You brought up something there that I think is really interesting because we talk about this a lot with different sports because me and DB are weirdos. But so we talk about like failure rate in sports a lot and like an individual plays. So as I never played volleyball, but we talk about baseball, huge amount of failure in baseball. You have to be able to be resilient and get past it, right? I like to play tennis, huge amount of failure in tennis. You got to move on to the next point, get past it. How much is, you talk about resiliency. Do you think people appreciate how much failure on a point-to-point basis volleyball players experience during a single match? Like how many times you have to be like, oh, screwed that up, got to get right back to it. Like, because if I'm just watching it, until you said that right there, I had never really thought about it. It's like, oh, yeah, they probably do things they didn't want to do a million times over the course of a match.
Scoring.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
do you think people
every point's a mistake
do
usually.
do you think people appreciate how much that is a part of the game and how much that actually occurs?
Yeah, I think it's like just how there's always something happening, and it always ends with like someone's doing something good, but someone is also doing something bad, and it's always like that's what makes it, I think, so like competitive and entertaining. But I also think, like, to your like point of like the standard in volleyball is like even within those rallies, like there are things that like we're failing at during the rally that we have to like, okay, like this ball is coming back, like how do I do it better in this, like before the point
at the out of
even
system
ends.
stuff?
Yeah, the out of system stuff. Like there's just, it's so precise,
Yeah.
and you have to get locations like to an exact point to almost like make things work.
Because you can fail in the moment and still have a chance to win that point.
Yes, exactly. So it's like that constant battle of like, oh, I just effed that up. Sorry, but
No, I mean,
we're not on the radio. You can say whatever you want.
Say whatever you want.
but like I just messed that up, and then like, but we are still like in the point. Like I still have this a second and a half later to like make up for it, but then it's like vice versa. Like you could mess it up and then lose the point. So it's just like there's this constant like you just gotta live in the next point. Like you
keep
really
going.
can't focus on like what just happened.
There are so many. I played in the early 90s, and there are so many rules changes in the game of football that I'm like, oh, I like that. Oh, I don't like that. Can you imagine ever seeing your sport without rally scoring? Like, I think there's a lot of new rules, right, and a lot of replay stuff, but I think rally scoring changed.
One of the most fundamental changes we've seen in like a major sport kind of ever, right?
I mean,
I know. I couldn't imagine
only being able to score when you serve.
Yes, that would be crazy. Like think about
it sounds terrible.
Think about the game.
Yeah.
Like when they were going 37-35, it was just side out. Like no one was really until 37-35. Like no one had gotten a point when they were serving. So like I could not imagine how long those games were. Wow.
Especially with how good people have gotten now. Like scoring would be almost impossible.
Yeah.
At what point of the match points were you like, oh boy, this may not go well?
In the fourth set?
In the fourth set?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Where would you rank that set? In your short tenure.
I've never been in a match that long. Never. And even listening to Harper, like I wasn't sure, but even she was like, I don't think I've ever been in a match that long. Like it just, obviously I've been in extended matches and vital times where it's like must win sets, and like I can't even like put myself back into that position because it's almost just like you kind of black out. You're just like your body takes over in that moment, and it's like there's no like thought. It's just like,
well, that's interesting because you'd think you'd be fatigued.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you
almost have to like disassociate a little bit, right?
A little bit. And it's like the first, usually in the beginning of sets, it's like you have so much thought, but then like once things really hit like do or die, it's like the adrenaline, everything. It's just like, okay, like I'm not going to lose. And you could see it from both teams.
Yeah.
It was like relentless. Like they were not going to lose the set. But
I don't even know if there's a comp.
Yeah, I really don't.
PKs, maybe?
I mean, I'm a tennis nerd, but like before they did the tie breaks, when you would go and you'd keep playing the games in major finals, like there's one with Roddick and Federer and like 08 Wimbledon, where they're just going back and forth on service games, that it just keeps going. And you're like, somebody has to, somebody has to win at some point, right?
You could tell they were spent, right? The body language, but maybe it's that place that they could go to that you're talking about where it's like,
disassociate. You're
yeah.
like, okay, I don't. My legs are exhausted, but like something's keeping me going. But yeah, I would say in between, it was like Nebraska had always had the set point, and then it like switched to A&M around like the late 20s, maybe.
25, 26.
A&M had the set point, and I was like, oh crap. I like stood up. I was starting to sweat. I was like, this is not good. This is not good. And then they like brought it back.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, the momentum's coming.
They had to save the 3 match points.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could tell how loud it was. I was like, okay, they're going to close this out. I could feel it.
It may be too fresh, but at what point did you appreciate A&M's mental toughness?
Oh, man.
Was it when they jumped on them early and
honestly the first couple sets?
Like I'm just curious. Like when did you think, they're here for the long haul?
So they went up 2 sets, and I was like, okay, I think everyone's going to give Nebraska their best shot. It's something we've always said. Like, they're the number 1 team in the country. You're going to get the best from someone. And I was like, okay, they'll have a chance to reset. They'll come back. Like, they'll be fine, is what I was imagining. I think everyone was imagining.
Yeah.
But, like, obviously, like, A&M has been in a lot of 5-setters, a lot of, like, big matches this year, like, close matches. They've won, they've lost some, whatever. And so I think I kind of, like, could see, like, okay, they have 9 seniors. Like, they're not just going to lay over and give it to Nebraska. Like, it's going to be a battle. But I think, being able to walk into an arena like Devaney and someone's home crowd like that, and
You could tell they were confident from the right off the rip.
It was pretty cool to see and special for that team. I think just never being to not being to a Final Four in a really long time.
I think ever.
Like, it was really cool to see, honestly, but it just sucks that it had to be against Nebraska.
Edwards Ram & Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to Village Point and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 starting at $199 a month or get $18,000 off MSRP. More to celebrate with lease deals under $200 a month. Lease the 2026 Jeep Compass Limited Altitude 4x4 starting at $169 a month or save $10,000 off MSRP. Unwrap this season's best savings at Edwards Ram & Jeep, Village Point and Council Bluffs.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
and for Borsheim's, it is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker Volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Murray joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we'll look back on each other. Back on made us start to wonder. I don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call to make this last forever. One
I've been thinking a lot about Nebraska volleyball over the past 24 hours or so as they had their season come to an end in a really shocking, frankly, way that I don't think any of us really saw coming, especially the way the season went and how dominant they had been, even how the NCAA tournament had gone up until that point. And obviously there's a ton of emotion and heartbreak and disappointment in the way that season ended. And I think there's this tendency that we have sometimes that the way a season ends, or, you know, if something ends the way we don't really want it to, that we have a tendency to let it negate everything that happened before then. And I've been thinking a lot about that because it seems like such a waste. You know, it seems like such a waste to allow a ending that we didn't want to negate everything that we loved before that. And like, winning's really hard, you know, and I know people know that, but winning a championship is really, really hard. And I do think this Nebraska team was good enough to do it. I do. Obviously it didn't work out that way, but I don't feel like that should invalidate everything we saw and experienced and got to enjoy with this team this year. That feels like a terrible waste of an amazing experience. You know, we heard Harper Murray sort of say some of these same things as she was talking with the media after the match, and as you know, Rebecca Alec was really struggling with her emotions, and Harper Murray was talking about all the things that they would be able to take away from this season. And I thought it showed an incredible amount of growth and maturity on her part. But it also reminded me of, there's this scene in one of my favorite movies. It's Moneyball. It's a baseball movie about the Oakland A's. And their general manager, Billy Beane, is talking to one of his assistants named Peter Brand after, it's what his name is in the movie, not in real life. He's talking to one of his assistants after the season, and they'd fallen short in the playoffs again. And this, during the course of this season, the Oakland A's had set an American League record, 20-game win streak, and had accomplished incredible things against unbelievable odds. And they keep coming back to this. Billy Beane keeps coming back to this failure in the playoffs and the inability to win a World Series or even get to a World Series. And his assistant says, you know, Billy, we won 20 games. We made history. We proved that the way we do things work. And pardon my language here, but Billy Beane keeps saying, unless you win the last game of the season, nobody gives a shit. And so his assistant brings up a video of a minor league player, a catcher that they had in their system. And to call this catcher not a great athlete would be generous. Good baseball player, not a great athlete. And in the video, the catcher hits a ball, and as he's rounding first, decides he's going to go for it. He decides he's going to go for second base and go for a double. And he trips on first base, and he falls, and he has to crawl back to first base. And as he's doing this, he kind of looks up, and he sees everybody's laughing. And this feels in the moment like a really heartbreaking thing that's happening to this guy. But when he gets back up and stands on first base, he realizes they're not laughing because he tripped. They're laughing because he hit the ball 40 feet over the center field fence, and he had no idea. He was so focused, the catcher was so focused on the thing directly in front of him that he didn't even realize that he had accomplished something amazing. And at the end of the day, I don't know what their home run is yet from this volleyball season. I know a couple of years ago it was volleyball day in Nebraska. That was one of the most amazing things we've ever seen. And no, the way the season ended doesn't take away from that at all. People will remember that day in Nebraska and around the world for the rest of their lives. So that was their home run that year. They showed 92,000 people will sit in a football stadium to watch volleyball, and that's not something anyone had ever proved before. I don't know what the home run is yet this year. What I do know is that they've accomplished an incredible amount of amazing things. And the way the season ended cannot take those things away, no matter how disappointed and how heartbroken we are or they are. And I consider myself a little bit of an expert in this area because I am a huge Golden State Warriors fan. I love Steph Curry. He's one of my favorite athletes of all time. If I had to put a Mount Rushmore of my favorite athletes of all time, Steph Curry is maybe the first person on that list. And because of him, I'm an enormous Warriors fan. And I went through the Warriors' 73-win season, and I probably watched 60 of their 82 regular season games live and in real time. I bought the league pass. I did the whole thing. They had come off the championship last year. I loved that team. I've never had more fun watching a basketball season, and maybe any season from day to day, than I did that Warriors 73-win team. And as I'm sure many of you know, maybe you don't, it's been almost a decade now, the Warriors didn't win the championship that year. Not only did they not win, they had a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals, and they blew that lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it's a very famous collapse of this great, great team. And so I kind of had to come to terms with feeling like that 73-win season that had brought me so much joy felt like a total waste. And I kind of just decided I wasn't going to let that happen. I've never enjoyed watching basketball more than I did that year. And I love basketball. There's lots of teams I can point to throughout my history of watching sports that I'm like, oh man, I loved watching that team play, and I loved watching this team play. But none of them compared to that regular season with the Golden State Warriors when they won 73 games back in 2015, 2016. And I just sort of decided I'm not going to let the way the season ended take that away from me. I'm not going to let it take away the three-pointer that Steph Curry hits from about 40 feet out against Oklahoma City one night in February to set a record for three-pointers in a game and knock off a Thunder team that had Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook on it in one of the greatest sporting moments I've experienced in my life. I loved that moment. I loved that team. That isn't invalidated because they failed to accomplish the ultimate goal. Would I have enjoyed that season more if they did? Yeah, absolutely. But I can't sit here and lie to you or lie to myself and say, hey, I didn't enjoy that team, that I didn't love that team didn't bring me so much joy and happiness because they ended up losing in the finals. That's just not true. And I don't think it's true of this Nebraska team either. I think when you look back at this team, you're going to say, man, they didn't lose a set for 2 months. They went undefeated for the entire regular season. in the Big Ten of all places. They dominated top 5 and top 10 teams week in and week out. And that was an amazing experience. The loss hurts now. The loss might hurt for a while. But as Harper Murray said, you're going to remember the relationships. You're going to remember the memories. You're going to remember how this season made you feel. And a loss at the end of it, while it's not the story you would have written, it's still a story worth revisiting and telling again when it was able to bring you that much joy.
Edwards Ram & Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to Village Point and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 starting at $199 a month or get $18,000 off MSRP. More to celebrate with lease deals under $200 a month. Lease the 2026 Jeep Compass Limited Altitude 4x4 starting at $169 a month or save $10,000 off MSRP. Unwrap this season's best savings at Edwards Ram & Jeep, Village Point and Council Bluffs.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
We were spending nights dreaming about
for Borsheim's, it is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker Volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Moore joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball, the rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we look back on each other. Back on made us start to wonder. I don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call to make this last forever. One shot.
Anna Bellinghausen, Jacob Padilla with you to talk Nebraska volleyball. The final time this season, 33-1 record. The Husker season falls and ends in the Elite 8 to Texas A&M in 5 sets. Jacob, just your main takeaways from that and just the heartbreak for Husker Nation.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for it to end the way that it did, and just all the litany of factors that played into it. It's one thing to just go out there and give them your best shot and just flat out get beat, which I think Texas A&M is capable. Like it's the first team they play in a while that's since maybe the first 2 weeks of the season that you played a team that is physically capable of just going out and beating Nebraska, and they certainly did that in stretches in this game. But you add in all the factors that Nebraska was dealing with, and it's after a season that has gone so smoothly. I mean, after that, obviously the Creighton went 5-2, but after that Kentucky match where they pulled all the strings, Danny made the changes, and they got onto a roll, and then just kind of stampeded through the season. Everything, you had a minor injury here or there, but nothing serious. Like you had your main group out there every night all season long, except for when you chose to go to your bench. And Busboom Kelly talked about all season long about how she thought she was going to need her bench once they got into the tournament and down the stretch, and for the injuries, the illnesses, to kind of just take away that ability for them to kind of come up with some counters to try to turn the tide. It's just really unfortunate, and I mean, that's why we love sports, why we watch sports, is you never know. Like, I mean, the odds, Nebraska was one of the heaviest favorites I've ever seen in a postseason tournament like this. And you just never know on any given day, just all the factors that go into impacting performance. And that's why we love it. Everybody's always got a chance when the whistle blows and the match begins. And fortunately, I think the adversity specifically we're talking about, Bergen Riley, very, very sick. Like, she was in bed all day Wednesday, like Thursday, I think you said, probably might not have been able to play at all if they had gotten Thursday, Saturday in that first match. And unfortunately, on top of that, her backup, Campbell Flynn, broke her pinky. And so she was out, for not an option. So you couldn't even spell Bergen. She had to just go out there and play the whole match, both matches. You couldn't do 6-2. You couldn't do doubles. You couldn't sit her down entirely and hope that Campbell could lead you to a win, which wouldn't have put it past Busboom Kelly with how much trust she has in her bench. But that's off the table. They destroyed Kansas, played really well despite Bergen playing through the illness, which credit to her for that. And then you come back against Texas A&M, and 5 minutes left, and like they're doing their passing or their serving like the final warm-ups before you go back, change, and come back out for to get ready for the match. And Ali Chet goes up and serves and comes down on top of a ball and just rolls her ankle and does it pretty badly, and obviously was not able to play in the game. Came back out in the third set with her foot in a boot. So Busby McKelly had been prepping the double sub as an option to get them out of some tough rotations. Just been preparing those to play. Virginia Adriana wasn't really doing much of anything early in the match. It's probably one where we would have seen Chet get out there and see if she could kind of turn the tide. And those options were just off the table. So you can't use your depth. Your setter's playing through an illness, and on top of that, Texas A&M is really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, Texas A&M, credit to them in the way they played, and really happy for that Texas A&M program, too. I mean, they deserve everything that they got against Nebraska to do that in the environment like the Bob. I mean, in 5 sets against the number 1 Nebraska team, the biggest favorites in maybe the history of the sport, to do that was incredible to see from A&M.
And fantastic game plan. Nebraska could not keep up with their tempo. Just the block was slow to close, slow to get to the pins, and 149 of their 178 swings were by their 3 pins. Jamie Morrison talked about how balanced he thought they were the 2 most balanced teams in the country going in. Texas A&M was balanced between their pins, and their middles were effective on the few opportunities they got. But I think that's partly because Nebraska did respect their middles and what they're capable of, and got stuck too long inside, wasn't able to get out there and close the blocks. Like A&M tooled them all night long. Ended up 17-8 was the final. It was the disparity in stuff blocks. 8 blocks for Nebraska in 5 sets, and we saw that early on. It was the serving. It looked a lot like when they fell behind the 2-0. It looked a lot like the Texas 2023 match, where right down to a middle, just bombing serves. I mean, Ifena Kozak-Paula served a 10-0 run in that first set to dig them out of the hole after Nebraska got off to a great start. Kind of bringing back memories of Asia O'Neal in that championship match. And just Nebraska was out of sorts early on, couldn't get into it. And they settled in. Passing-wise, they ended up turning it around like that. A&M only had 1 ace in the last 3 sets combined. So, and that's what Busby McKelly said. Like that ultimately didn't end up deciding the match because they did stabilize it somewhat, but the blocking and slowing down those pins, and Nebraska couldn't get their normal balance going.
Right.
And a lot of that is because of what we'll probably talk about next year.
And the fact that Nebraska took that Texas A&M team to 5 sets is still pretty incredible. I mean, you've mentioned it. Bergen dealing with the flu. Allie, one of obviously everyone's good friend on the team. You see her walk off in tears after rolling her ankle.
And then Campbell came back from the bench, and it looked like she was crying after going in there and checking on her.
Yeah.
So,
just very emotional. It's just the fact that team, got to the 3rd set and turned things around, and then we haven't even gotten to the 4th set yet. We'll talk about that. And then to be competitive in that 5th set still, Nebraska had everything working against them that day, but that just goes to show how good that team was because, you mentioned the 2023 team. If that would have happened against that 2023 team, they would have lost in 3 sets. Yeah. But this is the 2025 team, and they've obviously grown so much to take that to a 5th set. Ultimately, Texas A&M played better at the end of the day, and they had everything working for them. And, Nebraska had some really tough breaks that just didn't fall their way.
Yep, for sure. And one of those breaks is Andy Jackson, who has been phenomenal. Like, what she's done over the last 2 months has been insane. I've never seen anything like it, just the efficiency that she's been hitting with. And for whatever reason, and part of it is Texas A&M, I think they had great scout on her. They understood the best way to defend her, where to be, and all that type of stuff. And she just couldn't find it. And that's what Busby McKelly said after. Like, she 3 different times she pulled her to the bench and put in Manayo Beche, and twice she put her back in, gave Andy a chance to kind of figure it out, and she never did. and ended up sticking with Obeche for the end of the fourth set, to the point where they ran out of subs and she had to serve a couple times. That first one almost landed in. The second one was like, ooh. But and then stuck with her in the fifth set, which obviously a controversial decision. That's something that a lot of people were talking about. I don't know what the right answer is there. Like, in most cases, a lot of times coaches, they'll stick with their superstar. They've been there before and just they're the best option. Hope at some point they'll be able to figure it out. That being said, like Danny, all season long, she talked about not afraid to use their bench. The players themselves have talked about how that's taken pressure off them and how much trust they have in those players on the bench, and how, like, hey, if I'm struggling, go be it. Like, come on up, next player off the bench. We believe that you can get it done, and then hopefully that even if whether it's short term or the rest of the match, like give yourself a chance to reset and hopefully get back out there. And so, like the players said, Danny's gonna be herself, and this is the way she's coached all year long. The players respond to this. A big part of why they got to this point was the way that she coached this team in this season, and there she was in the biggest stage doing the same thing. Like it would. The easy thing is to just leave her out there and hope it fixes. She made the tough call. Was it the right call? I don't know. Like Minaya came in, played. She had some stretches there where she really sparked some things. Ultimately, wasn't enough to get a win. Would Andy have been able to figure it out in that fifth set? I don't know. What we don't have is we weren't there on the bench. We weren't having the conversations that Danny potentially would have had with Andy as they've tried to figure out what's going on. How can we get you going? She wasn't there looking in Andy's eyes to see kind of where her confidence level is. Like, and you could see like early, as the match went on, her swings just weren't as aggressive. Like Danny said, she just couldn't find it for whatever reason. Missing wide on the slide, which never does that. So I don't. It was a tough call. Was it the right one? I don't know. I think she's probably maybe she's kicking herself. I think she's confident in like, hey, this is what we did all year long. We're sticking with what's been working, and I think Minaya is going to be a very good player next year and into the future for this team. So
for sure.
It's just unfortunate. It's the worst season or worst game of Andy's career since her freshman year.
Wow.
She had two matches. She hit 0 as a freshman. Since then, this is the worst hitting percentage she had. And on top of that, that match cost her the season program record for hitting percentage. She dropped back below Tracy Stalls, I think finished at 467.
Gotcha.
Record was 473. So just and Andy not being what she normally was made it really tough for Nebraska to get back to that balance. And they became so reliant on Harper Murray. Just couldn't get much going from Taylor Landfair or Virginia Adriano, who was effective, but only took 12 swings the entire match in 5 sets. So it just injuries, illness, the way that the game played out, just everything that made this team special just kind of fell apart. And like you said, the resiliency to get back into it and to take that to a fifth set, and it was 5-5 in the fifth. They fell behind and they got it back to within 1 point. And it just, at that point, you just can't dig a hole in a fifth set. And Logan Lednicki is really, really good. And she closed that match out.
One more point on Andy Jackson. I think what we won't necessarily see in the stat sheet or on a lot of video that we've seen, Andy was so supportive of her teammates in that moment, and that is so incredibly hard to do. You are a superstar of this team. You are a face of college volleyball, and you have your worst match in that moment since your freshman season. That is incredibly difficult to stomach and to endure. And she was all smiles on the bench. She was very supportive of Minaya, talking to her when she was coming on and off, and just the fact that she was able to be within herself in that moment. She could have pouted. She could have, been disassociating from the match and not thinking about anything that was going on besides her bad day, but she decided to support her teammates. And then also after the match, she walks off with Virginia Adriano and Harper Murray, and I could see Andy saying to Virginia, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault." And
she took it really hard.
And Virginia took it very hard. That was her first loss in college volleyball ever. And to see Andy just wrap her arms around Virginia the way that she did was really incredible to see, because again, Andy could just feel bad for herself, but no, she's there to support somebody else, and she's having one of the worst days of her career.
And we saw a moment similar to that in the press conference afterward as well. And for one, credit to Rebecca Alec for leaving everything she absolutely had on the court. She was phenomenal. She was the one other option besides Murray that was consistently affecting the game. And 15 kills, 480 hitting, 4 blocks. The growth that she made this season offensively is just phenomenal. Testament to her hard work and to the coaching staff and just things clicking for her, and obviously Bergen as well on their continued evolution with that connection. But like, she was absolutely devastated. One, credit to Rebecca for stepping up and going into the press conference. I know she didn't want to.
Yeah, Harper essentially dragged her in and supported her, held her hand.
And then, because asked about it, like, she just kind of, what are the emotions you're feeling right now, and just broke down at that question. Like, it just welled up and hit her, and Harper stepped in and comforted her, and then gave a beautiful answer about Rebecca and what she means to the program.
Which would have been a better answer than what Rebecca could say at that point.
100%. And you just kind of think back to, like, Harper, that Texas press conference after that loss, and just kind of obviously the things she said and the way she handled that situation, to coming back from DUI, that very first press conference where she kind of like froze up some of the questions, and Merritt stepped in and comforted her and answered her questions, to now as a junior doing the same thing for Rebecca, stepping in, and Harper was very level-headed. Obviously, it hurt, but she was very mature in that moment, and just kind of, it's fascinating to see like her growth over the last 3 years in similar situations, and kind of what she's become and becoming for this team. So that was obviously, I think, a positive moment I took from a really difficult situation for everybody involved.
Yeah, the growth and maturity of Harper Murray has been something that we've got to publicly watch, which isn't something normal for 18 to 22-year-olds. You're not usually put on a pedestal on a stage like that at such a young age. And Harper has done it with so much grace. And I think that example in the press conference, from where she was in 2023 versus now, she's a completely different person in the way that she handles things. And I think that person's always been with her, right? She, is a down-to-earth, humble, kind person, but we got to see that on display. And also just the ability for her to have so much perspective in that moment too, and understand like, hey, this loss sucks, but we have the relationships, we have the memories to take away. And the fact that she could realize that so quickly after you just get your heart broken in a fifth set like that on your home court, which never happens, it was just incredible to see her bring that perspective and to help pick up somebody like Rebecca Alec, who has meant so much to this program. So big shout out to Harper and the way she handled that press conference, because she wouldn't have done that 2 years ago, and we saw it. But just to see that growth from Harper that's what it's all about. Truly.
Yeah, encourage, go back and watch that whole press conference back if you're a fan of Nebraska Volleyball and haven't seen it. Just kind of the way they handle things, and both Busman Kelly and Harper just kind of reflecting on what they accomplished this season. And it's going to be fascinating to see kind of how this team handles this going into next year, and handles the day-to-day grind, and because like they put so much and they did so well in just where their feet are, is kind of the phrase that we heard from them all season long, and smelling the roses and enjoying every step of the way. It was all to get to this point, and to kind of have that ripped away from them now. How does that impact them going into next year? Because it's going to be another long regular season before they can get back to that point. How will any of that mean anything to them? Like knowing how this ended, like obviously it's first year Danny, like it's easy to kind of turn the page and really everything's new, even if it's not that different. Next year is going to be a little bit different. And again, will be another test of kind of their emotional maturity and their ability to go game to game and point to point and all that. But they, despite it ending the way it did, like a 33-1 record, leading the country in offense and defense, kind of the place that they reached this season is testament to all the work they put in and to all the buttons that Busman Kelly pushed throughout the season to get this team to this level. And it's just really unfortunate that we did see them compromise in the way that we did. And like a lot of fans out there, here come the excuses and all that type of stuff. They're not excuses. It's a reality of the situation. They were factors that impacted their performance. Despite that, they still got to the point where they gave themselves a chance. So in that fifth set is what it is. Like Danny's comments about like Bergen at the end of that fourth set and like, are you going to be able to make it? And Bergen just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that, I mean, we knew she was sick. I didn't realize even in that point how bad it was because she played every point out there and played at a high level. And obviously it wasn't the easiest situation. She was having to do a lot of running, especially early on in that match because of the passing struggles. And so, yeah, like lose me on the excuses and the people taking shots and that type of stuff. Just it's unfortunate. They just got beat. Texas A&M is a really, really, really good team, really balanced team, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how this Final Four goes now.
Yeah. Okay, and if there's another positive we can draw from it, ABC got an absolute show on national television. If you weren't convinced that college volleyball is a sport you should watch, then I don't know. If you weren't watching, you weren't watching, but like the people that did got a treat, and I'm sure thousands of Americans fell in love with the sport that previously maybe never watched, or little girls looked at the screen and thought, hey, I want to play this sport.
I got a text from a buddy in the basketball world, just stumbling across it, like, wait, this volleyball team is undefeated? I'm like, yeah, they've been a wagon all season. So like just stuff like that where just people out of nowhere, like, my mom became a huge Nebraska volleyball fan because of Lexi Rodriguez, and things like that. Like just so many people are falling in love with the sport through this program, and they continue to kind of push the envelope. And I think a lot of other programs are picking up that mantle and trying to do the same. And we saw that with the attendance records everywhere, all across the country. Now we see that with the bigger emphasis on TV and all that moving forward. And that's obviously that's not stopping anytime soon.
No, the growth of the sport has been incredible. Nebraska has obviously been a huge part of it. They are the flag bearer of what this college volleyball landscape can look like, and the Bob's going to be expanded capacity next year too, so excited to see just the growth of that. Let's touch quickly on, though, before we wrap up, of what Nebraska has returning next year and what can fans kind of look out for in terms of the roster.
Yeah, and obviously they had Taylor Landfair moving on, kind of a starting role. You've got Rebecca Alec. That one's simple. You slide Manayo Beche into that lineup. She showed that she's ready for that this season, and we'll get another off season to continue to get better. You've got Murray back. Obviously, you've got Riley back. Obviously, Adriano back. You've got both your liberos back. So there's a whole lot coming back. The questions, kind of the biggest outstanding question is like with the portal, one, retain everybody. That's always a question. And then two, will they be active? Will they look to add a piece? Will they look for another outside hitter? Or is Terea Sigler ready to play a 6 rotation role? Is she ready to be to play in that front row and be a force? Like that's the question that Bussom Kelly and her staff have to ask themselves. Is like, is she ready for this? Is Skylar Pierce ready to slide into that role that Lanford had? You've got those two coming back, and then Gabby DeVita coming in as a freshman. So that's kind of the one spot you could say, okay, if they're going to be active in the portal, that may be a spot, losing what the role that Lanford played and what she became. But you've got Ryan Hunter coming off the red shirt with Virginia Adriano taking Ali Check's place, so that's kind of a natural fit there. Jane Robinson coming in as a freshman to add to depth to that group. Carrie Lineback coming off her redshirt year, kind of stepping into the Maisie Bosiger role, adding more depth there. And then Kearney Williams is the other freshman coming in, joining Kenna Kogo coming off of the red shirt to give them 4 middle. So right now they've got 16 roster spots spoken for. You have up to 18 spots you can fill. It's 17 this year, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what the staff does. But yeah, this team's going to have a chance to continue what they build on this year, next season for sure. And the last run for this this class, these seniors 2B, who obviously came in with a lot of fanfare and they've accomplished so much, just haven't gotten over that hump. And this will be their last season, so I'll be fascinated to see kind of how they approach it.
It's going to be a literal crime if this class can't come away with a national championship. I mean, what they've accomplished and what they've meant to this program, and just the own of individual talent of that senior class next year, it's through the roof. So we'll see. We'll find out if they can end their careers on a national championship. Fell short this season, and it was a heartbreaker for Husker fans. I mean, you could feel it in the crowd. nobody had left Bob sad this year because it's all been wins. So it was a different sight to see, very quiet, and, you know, a sad sight seeing all the players hug their families afterwards. And, you know, that's what you have when it comes down to it, of wins and losses. But it's about those relationships that truly matter. But yeah, Nebraska Volleyball has done so much for the sport. It's been an incredible season to cover. Jacob, what number is this for you?
2015 was my first season, so is this number 11 then?
Okay,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
It's been a long ride for you, Jacob. So you got to see a national championship before.
First year on the beat, 2015, they won it in Omaha. So that was my introduction to Nebraska Volleyball beat, and then won in 2017. But covered a lot of Final Fours since then, a few national championship matches. Still waiting to hopefully cover that next title.
All right. Well, Jacob, pleasure talking on the show every week with you. Rico, shout out to you for producing. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Edwards Ram and Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to Village Point and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 starting at $199 a month, or get $18,000 off MSRP. More to celebrate with lease deals under $200 a month. Lease the 2026 Jeep Compass Limited Altitude 4x4 starting at $169 a month, or save $10,000 off MSRP. Unwrap this season's best savings at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point and Council Bluffs.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
We will spend our nights dreaming about
Borsheim's. It is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker Volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Murray joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball, the rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we look back on each other. Back home made us start to wonder. Don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call to make this last forever. One shot.
Welcome into Hail Varsity exclusive. Anna Bellinghausen, Gabby DeVita joining us now. One of the new Husker signees for the volleyball team. Gabby, how are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great and very excited to have you on the show and also just welcome you to Lincoln here pretty soon. What's it been like for you kind of wrapping up high school and knowing that your college journey is pretty nearby?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited. I've been in touch with coaches a little bit more now that it's getting closer and just so excited. And I know me, Jaden, and Kiani have all talked about it. And yeah, we just can't wait to get there.
All right, well, take me back to the first time you heard from Nebraska. Obviously, that first day it opens up with recruitment. Who kind of was the first person to reach out to you and how were those conversations like?
Yeah, so I got on the phone. Well, I got a text I was in a group chat with John, Kelly, Jalen, and Jordan at the time. And they texted me in a group chat at midnight and they asked me if I wanted to hop on a call. And I was like, of course I would. So, yeah, I got on a call with them that night. And I mean, it was so easy. I felt like I had known them all forever. So, just like going to dream team camps and everything, it was so easy talking to them. And I already knew a lot about Nebraska and what they all like have to offer. So yeah, I mean, I kind of knew from the start that that's what I wanted.
Yeah, what were your very first impressions of Nebraska and getting to know that coaching staff early on?
Yeah, I mean, it's an insane program. And I think the second that you walk in there, like you can see that. Yeah, I think one thing that really stood out to me was the culture that they built there. And that was really important to me. And yeah, I think everybody, like, they make it so fun, like I think going to Nebraska, there's a lot of pressure and everything, but they made it so fun and just so free feeling. And I just love that.
When you think about your journey, would you have ever imagined that you'd be signing with the #1 team in the country when you think back to little Gabby?
I mean, it was always my dream, but I mean, it's insane that it's actually happened. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I still can't believe it. It's still surreal.
What have been your impressions getting to come on visits, see a match in person? What is it like seeing it in person before you become one of those players on the court?
Yeah, I think like we talked about it, but just like seeing it in person is something that like it's really insane. Like the fan base, the care that everybody has, like showing out on like a Tuesday night for a match is insane. So yeah, I just think the fan base and like the care everyone has there, and it's really like such a special environment. They say it all the time, there's no place like Nebraska, but once you see it, it's amazing.
Yeah, have you gotten a taste of that fan base so far already? Like reaching out, following you, sending you messages?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's crazy.
Yeah, they love their volleyball in this state. It is true.
Yeah.
When you think about just your recruiting journey, what also stood out about this university, the campus? What kind of sold you on Nebraska and the program that it is?
Yeah, I just think the community, like it's something that you really can't find anywhere else. You know, everybody is so like close and everyone's like so nice in Nebraska. And I don't know, it was like, it just seemed like the perfect fit for me.
Now, also some familiar faces too on the team. One being Campbell Flynn, who you've played with for a number of years in club. Also, Harper Murray's from your club and Legacy back in Michigan. Did that factor into the decision as well to get you over to Nebraska?
Yeah, you know, I think a little bit actually. You know, me and Campbell always, it was like our dream to go to Nebraska, so we love that. And you know, like seeing Harper go and then do everything that she did her freshman year, it just really, I don't know, it kind of like sparked like some inspiration in me. So, but yeah, I mean, they're amazing, and seeing everything that they've done is amazing, and I'm hoping that I can go in there and do the same thing.
So how long has Nebraska been a dream school of yours?
A really long time. I remember one time I was on the phone with John and I was like going through my old pictures and or like old like school stuff, I don't know. And I found like a doc, like a Google Doc of me, and it was like 10 things that I wanted to accomplish. And Nebraska volleyball was on there. And yeah, he thought that was really cool, but it kind of like showed me too. I was like, I wanted to do this for so long. So I'd say probably end of elementary school, honestly. It's been a
Wow.
really long time.
Yeah, how do you know how old you were when you wrote that down that you wanted to be a Husker volleyball player?
Probably 5th grade. I think it was 5th grade.
Wow.
I mean, that was insane. It's so cool that's happening.
Yeah, how much work has gone into this for you to become the player and the person you are today to be able to make that dream come true?
Yeah, you know, a lot. Obviously, like the endless club practices and everything, but I think like people don't know how much like you can like miss out on when like you do all of this, but it's all paid off and it's so worth it. And obviously like, it's just going to continue the next 4 years, but yeah, I mean, so much has gone into it.
So if Nebraska fans haven't seen you play yet, what can they expect out of Gabby on the floor? What kind of player are you? What kind of persona do you hope to bring on the court?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and I think it's pretty easy to tell, is I'm very competitive. So I'll pretty much find a way to win however I can. And so yeah, I'm super competitive. I think I'm fun out there. And yeah, I think competitive and fun are the two biggest ones. I think like if something needs to be done, like a lot of people look at me to do that. So, but yeah, competitive is probably the biggest one.
And how much pride do you take in also playing 6 rotations and really being versatile in your game?
Yeah, a lot. I think it's really like, I mean, like I've heard Nebraska talk about it, but it's like you're a volleyball player, like you have to know how to do everything. And I think like I love to pass, I love to play defense. So that's one thing that I think I worked really hard on. And I think I need to work on my hitting a little bit more still, but yeah, I take a lot of pride in it. It's something that it's not easy to do. So
Who did you grow up trying to emulate your game after? Was there any certain players that you looked at and tried to model your game after?
yeah, I think obviously Jordan was a really big one. I loved Michaela Fecke. She was so good, and Lexi Sun, but then obviously the big one is Harper Murray, you know, seeing her at Legacy like all the time, knowing she was going to Nebraska, and then watching her throughout the last couple of years too. So those were my big ones, but I think Harper's a huge one for me.
Yeah, does it feel surreal that you'll be joining her on a team here soon?
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe it.
Yeah, what have those conversations been like with the current team? Have you gotten to connect with them and talk to some of the girls?
Yeah, I talk to them mostly when I'm like at Nebraska, but yeah, I mean they're so fun. I mean, it's such a fun group of girls, and they make it so easy to be yourself, and you can tell how much they care for the sport, and I can't wait to get there and be a part of it. They're amazing.
Yeah, how did the coaching staff kind of approach you in terms of where you fit in on this team, what they want to see you develop in? What were those kind of points of advice or emphasis they gave you before signing or after signing?
Yeah, you know, there's like, I mean, you're going to the #1 school right now, so you know, nothing's going to be like given to you or anything. It's going to be a lot of hard work, and everything needs to improve. You know, like I'm going to a school where, you know, everybody's really, really good, and everyone's really good at for their position and everything really. So just everything needs to improve, and just, yeah, just keep on working.
Yeah, and you also could have gone somewhere where, hey, you knew you'd get a starting spot, but instead you're joining a very competitive gym with so many talented outside hitters and plenty more coming in too. How much did that factor into your decision too of wanting that competitive environment?
Yeah, I think you go to Nebraska, you want to go deep in the tournament every year and like you want to challenge yourself. And I think you can do that in other places, but there's not really going to be any place quite like Nebraska. So really big thing for me was challenging myself and pushing myself to my limits. And I think I have full ability to do that here.
Yeah, and also you've mentioned it being recruited by John Cook. Obviously, he retires. Danny Buscom-Kelly takes over. You do have an option if you want to stay or go and look elsewhere. What made you so confident in DBK and her vision at Nebraska and what she's accomplished so far?
Yeah, I talked to Danny on the 15th, and I absolutely loved her. I went to the Louisville camp too. But she's amazing. I think the program's in just as good as hands as it is when John was here. Yeah, and I think Jalen was really good about communicating with me and everything about what was going on. And obviously I'm going to miss John, but Danny's amazing and she's doing an amazing job. We all see it. And yeah, I'm so excited to get to know her more and get there and be coached by her.
What's been your impression of this #1 ranked volleyball team here going to the Sweet 16 and looking for a national championship run?
Yeah, they're flawless, literally. So it's so cool to see. And yeah, I'm hoping for a national championship for them this year. It'd be really, really cool.
Yeah, all of Nebraska's on that same page, Gabby. I'll end you on this. Just what are you most looking forward to? What are you most excited about upon getting to Lincoln, Nebraska?
Yeah, I think like finally being there, I feel like it's been so long since I committed. But just learning from everybody and taking it all in, just because it has been a dream for so long. And yeah, I just can't wait to get there.
That's incredible. Full circle moment for you, Gabby. Congratulations on signing with Nebraska, and we're so excited to see you here in Lincoln.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Edwards Ram and Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to Village Point and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 starting at $199 a month or get $18,000 off MSRP. More to celebrate with lease deals under $200 a month. Lease the 2026 Jeep Compass Limited Altitude 4x4 starting at $169 a month or save $10,000 off MSRP. Unwrap this season's best savings at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point and Council Bluffs.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
And for Borsheim's, it is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker Volleyball coach Danny Busboom-Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Murray joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball, the rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we look back on each other. The bad call that made us start to wonder. I don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call.
Welcome into a Hail Varsity exclusive. I'm Anna Bellinghausen, joined by Keani Williams. Keani, how are we doing today?
I'm feeling great. I'm doing good. I'm really excited.
I love it. Well, we're excited to see you in Lincoln, Nebraska. Of course, one of the incoming freshmen for Nebraska Volleyball, a middle out of Texas. Tell me about the first time you got connected with Nebraska.
Yes. I first started talking to Nebraska around 15's year, and I obviously knowed about Nebraska since I was 14 and getting into volleyball and everything. So that was the first time I got talking with them and stuff.
What was your first impression of the coaching staff and just getting to know what Nebraska was all about?
Yes. At first, who I talked to was John Cook, because that was during that time, and my impression was just wow, this is crazy. Nebraska, not only Nebraska volleyball was talking to me, but it's John Cook, so it was even more crazy. And it's just I was feeling mostly just blessed and just happy overall. And I was pretty young, so I was just oh my gosh, no way, this is a college coach is talking to me. So that was more so the vibes. And then as I started talking to them a little bit more, as I from 15s to 16s and everything, I was it was just more so I could really commit there. So just just staying focused and working and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I see the Dream Bigger shirt you're wearing. Of course, the Dream Team Camp, something that so many players go through. What was your experience at that camp?
Yes, Dream Big is definitely an amazing camp, and we do so much just going around Nebraska and talking with the players, which is amazing, and the coaching staff, and seeing the fan base, which is through the roofs. So it's definitely a fun experience, and just playing on a Nebraska court in general is just crazy. So yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, what was your impression? Because I know you and the class got to experience the Penn State match, the blackout. What was your impression of that in Nebraska fans?
Yes, my face probably the whole entire time was like, because the blackout game was so pretty and just like everyone, the atmosphere was crazy, and we were just all sitting there, me, Jaden, and then 2027 commits were just sitting there and just soaking everything in. And obviously the game was a really good game, and Nebraska swept them, and it was a really good game to like watch and just experience, and knowing that next year, not so soon, we're gonna be on that court too as well with them girls. So it was really cool.
Yeah, what was it like experiencing the fandom firsthand and just seeing how much the state cares about volleyball?
Yes, Nebraska fans are definitely very loving and care for Nebraska a lot. And just to see, like, even before when we got there early, just seeing people outside waiting for the doors to open hours before, we were just like, wow. And everyone coming in and just seeing how full it was very eye-opening, and, like, just love the support that Nebraska's fans give to the team.
Yeah, do you remember where you were watching the stadium match, 92,000 people packed into Memorial Stadium?
Yes, I was at home watching that, and I was like, wow. And to be able to go there and not nowhere close to the fans they had there, but to see that was just like, wow. So I couldn't imagine on that day how wild it was.
Yeah, so what went into your decision most to pick Nebraska?
When committing to Nebraska, the biggest thing was just the coaching staff is just so caring, and they really show that they're not just about volleyball, but also you as a person. And I really got to know the coaching staff really well, Kelly and Jalen, and obviously John Cook. And now that Danny's here, I also got to know her a little bit more, especially when I went down there for the visit. So it was just great getting to know her, and obviously the fan base is crazy. So I just love how everyone there just supports, and the culture is very strong. So that's mostly the biggest thing. And obviously they're great at volleyball. So, and if I want to reach the levels I want to reach, being surrounded by those people would be great. So.
And of course, after John Cook retires, you do have an opportunity if you wanted to choose a different program. What made you stick with Nebraska and stick with Danny Busby Kelly?
As I said, the culture in Nebraska is so strong. So even with John Cook leaving, I knew that Danny would pick up right up. And obviously, she played there, and she is connected with John Cook and everything. So I knew that there wasn't going to be a really big change. And knowing that all the players originally there also stayed was just even more validated.
Mm-hmm. Have there been any players that you've connected with or have any sort of connection to prior to committing even?
I'm pretty. I grew to be pretty close with Carrie and T and everyone that's already there, and I got to know Harper more, and just Ryan and everyone. So yeah, and I knew them from NCDPs, going through and doing that. So it was pretty. I knew them pretty well, so it was good going in.
And also a fellow incoming freshman, Jaden Robinson, a familiar face for you playing with that U21 team. How special will it be to carry on that connection from that team to Nebraska?
No, yes, I'm so excited. Me and Jaden are very close, and we've grown even more close just from U21. And we also have the All-American game coming up. And so I'm just really excited to go and experience this with her and get even closer with her.
I asked Jaden for a scouting report on you. So what would you say about Jaden's game that stands out to you? How would you describe her as a player?
Jaden, let's see. She's very, I would say if I can say one word, powerful.
Okay.
She's very powerful. Just like her blocking, her hitting, she goes with so much force, and it's definitely if you're up against her, I mean, I would be scared. So she's very powerful.
How would you describe your game for fans that haven't seen you play before?
My game, I would say I play with no regrets. So as in I go in, I know what the goal is, and I'm going in and I'm playing my hardest and playing for my team. So I would say that's the biggest thing for people to know about me.
Okay, so your parents come from basketball backgrounds. How did you turn into this volleyball star? When did you pick volleyball?
Yes, I started really young with my parents, and they all played basketball, so I'll always be at basketball games and doing that. And as I grow up a little bit, my parents were trying to put me in sports and everything. And obviously basketball was in the picture because they both played, and they ended up introducing me to volleyball, which was weird because they both played basketball. But I ended up doing it, and I loved it, so I just kept going with it, and they noticed how much I loved it. So I was just yeah, I don't want to do basketball. I want to stay with volleyball.
When would you say you had that light bulb moment of, okay, I'm good at volleyball. I can do this. I can go to college for this.
I would say probably around like my 15th year, I would say it clicks like I really do want to like pursue this and get better and put in the work to be like one of the top players. So I would say then.
Yeah, how much work has gone into this for you day in and day out between high school, club? How much work has gotten into to get to this point to sign with the #1 team in the nation?
Wow, yes, it's actually crazy. Wow. I would say just like lots and lots of like reps in it and like going out with a team and going out and just even not even at practice, but just in my garage, just working and putting in reps is definitely a lot. But I mean, I'm gonna only keep working from here on. So it's just honestly, it's fun. I love the process and I'm really excited.
So would the young Keone Williams ever believe that she'd be playing for the #1 team in the nation in Nebraska?
Probably not. I was just young and I seen volleyball and I was like, wow, I really do want to play. And I was like, oh, this is fun. But I wouldn't know that I would take it so seriously and be able to and be playing committed to the #1 team in the nation.
Yeah, so did you grow up watching any college volleyball, or what kind of memories do you have, if any, watching Nebraska?
I actually have no memories. I grew up, as you said, in basketball and stuff with my family, and we probably went to one volleyball game when I was younger. That's what my mom says is why I fell for it. But yeah, but as soon as I got into volleyball and like started watching, I obviously was attracted to Nebraska volleyball, and I never stopped watching it from that point on. So
That's awesome. And we've talked about the fans a little bit too, but have you felt that presence on social media too? All the fans sending you messages, following you. Have you seen that fandom already before even stepping on campus here?
yes, I've seen it so much. Even when I first like just committed on June or a little bit into June, the fan base was already talking to me and like just supporting me, and I was just like, wow, that's like it's so sweet, and I just love how like strong, as I said, their culture is. It was just really good.
Yeah, and of course, with all that attention does come some pressure when you play for a team like Nebraska. Have you thought about that aspect too, of just what it will mean to wear that Nebraska across your chest?
Yes, wearing Nebraska across your chest is definitely an honor. So just honestly, I take the pressure as a privilege, and I'm just like thankful overall, and just to be able to have Nebraska across my chest. So I'll just say that was the biggest thing.
For the fans, what's something that we need to know outside of volleyball for you? Any passions outside the sport, or anything you like to do beyond the court?
I love shopping. I love hanging with family and friends. I'm really family orientated. Yeah, those are the biggest things.
Okay, so you're excited to do all the dorm shopping for
Yes.
what you got upcoming.
Yes, I'm so excited. I already been talking to the girls like, what do I need? Do I need to get this mirror or like this thing? And they've been helping me a lot, so it's really fun.
That's so exciting. All right, well, I'll leave you on this. What are your goals for yourself? We'll start with just year one at Nebraska. What would you say your goals are, your intentions for the year, and then just kind of what you want to accomplish at the university?
I just say going into my first year, just soaking everything in and getting to know everyone and creating those relationships. And obviously, I'm surrounded by the best players in the nation, so it's definitely going to be like maybe overwhelming at times, but just taking that as a blessing and knowing that if I want to be one of the top players, I'm going to have to be surrounded by those top players to push me every day. So just doing that, and also they're obviously great players, but they're also great people. So I'm really excited to create those relationships with them and get to know everyone really closely. So.
Have you envisioned what it's going to feel like walking out in the Bob Devaney Sports Center, 9,000 people screaming?
Yes, I definitely imagine a lot. Actually, last night I was just thinking, I was like, wow, I'm about to be done with high school and I'll be there in January. And just thinking about how I will be stepping onto the court with everyone with that many fans was just like, wow, mind blowing. And I was just like, it was crazy. It's just crazy.
Awesome. Well, Keone, we're so excited to have you in Lincoln. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
Edwards Ram and Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to Village Point and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 starting at $199 a month, or get $18,000 off MSRP. More to celebrate with lease deals under $200 a month. Lease the 2026 Jeep Compass Limited Altitude 4x4 starting at $169 a month, or save $10,000 off MSRP. Unwrap this season's best savings at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point and Council Bluffs.
aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
And for Borsheim's, it is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker Volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Murray joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball, the rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we'll look back on each other. That call made us start to wonder. I don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call to make this last forever. One shot.
Welcome into a Hail Varsity exclusive. Jaden Robinson joining me now. One of the incoming freshmen for Nebraska Volleyball. Jaden, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. And we kind of want to get to know all the incomers soon here as, you know, you guys get acclimated and join on campus. But I want to start with your decision to commit to Nebraska, to sign with the Huskers. Take me back to that decision.
It was a big decision on whether the school has my major and obviously if the school wanted me for sports. I really wanted to go to a school that's very competitive and are surrounded by people that are like me. That is very competitive.
What is your major then? What was the academic part?
I'm majoring pre-health to be a physical therapist.
That's awesome. So when you were first recruited, who kind of connected with you first? What do you remember about your initial thoughts on Nebraska?
Jalen Reyes connected with me first, and then with my second call, the whole coaching staff was on the call. So it was kind of just good to be on a call with everyone and like seeing everyone's different personalities on the coaching staff. And yeah, it was a good like 2 calls that I had with them. But I also had a connection with Jalen Reyes before being on the call with him because of NTDP. And yeah.
What kind of sold you on Nebraska? What was the moment where you're like, okay, this is the place for me?
I would say just how the atmosphere is and how the fans are very family like oriented and the team is very family oriented, and I can just see myself playing for all these people in Nebraska, and I really didn't see myself doing that anywhere else.
Okay, so I read that you committed before seeing campus. Is this true?
Yeah, I did.
What was that like, going to commit somewhere where you haven't really seen the classrooms, the facilities? Why were you so sure?
No matter like what the campus looked like, I felt like I was meant to be there, whether I've seen the place or I haven't. And the coaching staff like really helped me they really helped me pick the school that I needed to go to.
Mm-hmm. Would you say this has been kind of one of the schools that you always wanted to go to, or what was your dream growing up? What was your dream school?
I didn't have a dream school growing up. I always had my options open because I didn't know if there was like schools looking at me growing up because I was always like underrated and overlooked. So I didn't really have a dream school because I didn't feel like having my hopes high to a school that possibly didn't want me.
Yeah. What was your recruiting journey like then? When you say, overlooked and, you weren't getting too many calls from coaches, what kind of put you on the map?
I think switching clubs really like put me back on the map because I was close to just quitting volleyball completely at one point, and just switching clubs to Skyline, I felt like really boost my confidence and really put my name out there to where college coaches like actually noticed me, and I got like looked by multiple colleges.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's pretty crazy. So you go from wanting to quit the sport to committing to the #1 team in the nation. That's incredible. I mean, tell me about that journey. How did you go from that point of being so low to, making this commitment and signing with this #1 team? What went into all of that?
I would just say a lot of hard work and a lot of like mental challenges went into it. Like for me, if you ever like look at my Instagram story, it's like me in the gym majority of the time. And I would say just getting into the gym for me really helps me like increase in my not only like volleyball skill wise, but just mentally it's mental as well because also my dad is the trainer. So like he's he does everything for me. So he's just like he talks to me about like the mental challenges through athletes and helps me overcome those things, and then he also helps me in the weight room to like help me perform better and prevent injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, how happy are you that you decided to stick with volleyball and, look where it's taken you now?
I'm extremely happy that I stuck with volleyball and still stayed in the sport because I don't know what I would be doing without doing the sport that I love.
How did you develop, do you think, throughout high school, throughout club? What kind of things were you working on most in your game?
For my game, I would say passing. Like passing has really like been the main focus for me because I've always struggled with passing mainly serve receive wise, just finding the angle and not swinging a lot. And yeah, just getting into privates and like really focusing on that. And then also my shot selection. I felt like after I switched clubs, I feel like my shot selection has really like changed because I've been focusing on it a little bit more.
Hmm. For somebody that hasn't seen you play, how would you describe your game to these Nebraska fans that are about to witness your game for the first time here pretty soon?
I would say my game is very, very energetic, very competitive, and it's like, okay, this is me like just getting all glazy over myself, but just like a really like fun, I would say I'm like a very fun player to watch because there's no telling like what I would do next.
Who do you think influenced your game the most, family member wise, or a player that you look up to?
I would say my dad influenced me the most because he played pro basketball and he didn't really play like D1, high D1. And he helped me through a majority of my recruiting, and he helped me through a lot of the mental aspects. And I would say he helped my game a lot, even with like him playing a whole different sport.
Hmm.
I would also say another player that really helped me like through it all is Jordan Thompson. She gave me some really good advice, and I would say like them two. They really helped me with my game.
How helpful was it earning a spot on that U21 national team, getting to play with Keone Williams, a future Husker teammate? How impactful was that experience for you?
It was very impactful because just having another teammate that I know I'll play with in the future is like next step because no one would have thought like you'd be playing with your future teammate before you go off to college. So I would say playing with Keone um, was it was like a good experience. It was a really good experience because we got to like get to know each other even more than we already did.
Hmm. How would you describe her game when you look at her and watch her play? What would you say about her?
Her game is very, I would say Key is a very fun player to watch, and
Okay.
she's very like high energy. I've never seen Key down, and she has like that next ball mentality. Like if she misses a hit, her club setter would go right back to her, and no matter what, Key would get the next point. So I would say Key is a very like fun player to watch.
And also for you too, I mean, for both of you and all the incoming freshmen, seeing that coaching change over from Cook to DBK, what made you guys so confident in staying with Danny Busboom Kelly and just trusting that process?
Yeah, I would say me and Coach Danny already had a connection before she switched over to Nebraska, and I felt like I went to the school not only for the coaches but for the school itself. So I didn't want to pick a school just for the coaches, and I felt like if I chose it for the coaches and the school, there's no reason for me to like decommit or switch up anything because I trusted that Nebraska would still perform better or still perform well enough even with the coaches changing.
Yeah, I mean, Danny's she's proven that this season so far, undefeated, going on to that round of 16 right now. So pretty incredible what she's done. Who from the team have you gotten to connect with or reach out with? Has there been any players on the current team that you've kind of connected with early on?
Yeah, I connected with Manaya Obeche a lot, only because we played on U19 team last year, and that was the year I committed, right? Yeah, that was the year I committed. So just getting to know her has been helpful, and just asking her questions has been really helpful for me.
What about the fandom at Nebraska that you've experienced so far? I'm sure you see it in social media. I'm sure all the Husker fans are already following you and sending you messages. What's that been like, just seeing the fandom?
Yeah, seeing it online has been different than seeing it in person, and it's a whole different atmosphere to see it in person than online. And I just love how the fans are just so interactive, and they're very into volleyball, unlike some others. So just seeing it in person has been amazing.
Yeah. What was your impression at that Penn State match you got to witness?
It was great, actually. Seeing everyone in all black, like following the little code, and just sitting back and just seeing it all happen, and being like, oh, this is going to be me in like a year. So just being in the stands, and just being in the stands, I feel like is like going to be different than actually being on the court. And I just can't wait to see it all happen.
Well, outside of the game of volleyball, what's something that you're passionate about? What could fans know about you off the court too?
I'm very family oriented. I love spending time with my family and friends. I I'm if you know me, I'm always in the gym, like always, no matter what day it is, whether I'm on like a break or I'm just doing nothing, I'm always in the gym. And I don't know, I just like watching TV and movies and just relaxing when I get the time to.
You got a TV show you're on to right now? What are you watching?
I'm actually rewatching All American right now.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I'm also watching Bel Air. So,
Oh, that's a good one. So would the young Jaden ever believe that she'd be in this position, about to play for the #1 team in college volleyball?
no. No. I would have never seen this coming.
Yeah. Why is that? Why would you say?
Because, like I said before, like I was very overlooked and not seen by a lot of people, and I just felt like I could have never seen myself going to the #1 team in the country.
All right. Well, I know Husker Nation's very excited to see you, Jaden. Thank you so much for the time, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, see ya.